Backpacks, pencils, books, and now a new addition on the back-to-school shopping list, a mask. When they return to their classrooms, students and staff will have to wear a face covering under an executive order issued last week by Governor J.B. Pritzker. But now, a lawsuit seeks to strike it down. Amanda Vinicky joins us with more. Amanda, who's behind this lawsuit?
Well, Brandis, throughout the pandemic, executive orders issued by Governor J.B. Pritzker have been subject to a series of challenges. Now, several of those suits fighting against business restrictions were brought by attorney Tom DeVore. He's based out of the Metro East. And now he has filed a new complaint, and that is on behalf of a parent whose child attends school in Breeze, that's in Clinton County. In July, that school district voted to recommend masks but not require them. And now, because of Pritzker's executive order, district has to comply with state guidance that makes masks mandatory or risk repercussions from Illinois. DeVore says the governor is relying on the state's Emergency Management Act, and that act does not give Pritzker this sort of authority.
So he took it upon himself to create law because these local bodies were governing in a way that he didn't like. That's what this issue is all about. It's a brand new issue for the court.
DeVore says the governor is overstepping into the legislature's job. There was a bill that would have given administrations this sort of authority during emergencies, but it didn't pass the General Assembly. DeVore says that that's proof Pritzker can't legally do this now. He says in disasters and emergencies like a COVID pandemic, schools can take measures like mandating face coverings. But he says that is an issue to be taken up by local school districts and not the state. He says that Pritzker is acting like a tyrant, and he says that's what upset parents tell him too.
They are furious that this continued moving the goalpost is going on, and all of a sudden the governor's now trying to say, well, your local school district doesn't have any authority. I'm going to tell them what to do. They are absolutely furious.
Now, this is not just an issue in Illinois. There have been protests and a lot of upset parents in states including Texas and Florida, where essentially the opposite is happening. Their governors have threatened to take action against schools that do require masks. Here's Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
We're going to do whatever we can to vindicate the rights of parents.
DeVore says he opposes what those governors are doing as well. He says he's arguing on a legal principle. So while the anti-masking parents he represents may not like it, he says he'd be filing a lawsuit against those governors too. Now, Dr. Taylor Heald-Sargent is a pediatric infectious disease specialist and says she hates that this issue of masking has come political when it's a public health issue.
There are many historical examples of public health recommendations being met with vehement opposition despite clear science advocating for their implementation. If you think back to seatbelts more recently, or farther back to smallpox vaccinations, we've had groups of people that are completely opposed to what are clear public health recommendations.
She says those are the sort of circumstances that politicians have to get involved with. She says she does understand parents' concerns as back to school time approaches. Sorry, kids, it's coming. She hopes that children who are of age are heading back to school with the protection of the COVID vaccine. But younger ones, like her first grade daughter and preschool age son, she says in those cases, schools have to take preventative steps.
For the children younger than 12 who vaccine isn't an option for yet, we have to do everything we can to minimize risk of infection. And we know from the science that we learned last year that masking is our best line of defense.
When Governor Pritzker issued that school masking order last week, some Republicans vying for the GOP nomination for governor in next year's election denounced it, saying that there isn't really a risk of COVID outbreaks starting from schools and that kids are not at serious risk. I asked Dr. Heald-Sargent about that directly.
Can kids get infected? Can they transmit infection? And we know the answer to both of those questions is yes. They can get infected and they can transmit.
And while the risk for serious disease is more likely in adults and especially those without the vaccine, she says it can happen to youth, who, by the way, are now the largest unvaccinated group.
that doesn't mean that children aren't having severe disease. They are. And so even though the numbers might be lower, you don't want to compare something that's so horrible as the amount of adults getting infected with something that's still not good, which is the number of children getting infected. And certainly no one wants that to be their child.
When asked about the lawsuit today, Governor Pritzker said he took the action to issue that executive order to protect students, but also their families, staff, and the community at large.
Mandatory masks in schools, that's something that we've had before. And certainly we are still in an emergency. I think we can all see that the Delta variant is beginning to overtake parts of the country. ICU beds are now full, as I understand, in a number of states. And as you know, just because it's happening somewhere else does not mean that it's not coming to Illinois. We see our case numbers going up, our hospitalizations going up.
The governor did not, however, directly address any of the legal arguments made in this lawsuit by Attorney DeVore, who, by the way, is now running for judge. Now, when asked how schools are supposed to enforce this masking order, the governor said that schools have been enforcing dress codes for years. Back to you.
Amanda, thank you. Lots to keep an eye on.